Can I write a book in 30 days while buying a house? Stay tuned. I'll let you know how everything's going. But first I want to start today with a bit of creative inspiration. It's by Still Boldly Going on Tumblr. If the world ever leaves you feeling hopeless, remember that Star Trek was canceled twice and deemed an utter failure, then rose from the ashes to become the flagship for all of science fiction, spawning 6 spin-offs, 14 movies, and enough novels to keep the fires burning through the long night. Oh, and inspired new technology, popularized fan fiction, created Slash, forged the foundation for modern fan culture, and pushed young people to the sciences. A show that was canceled. So, when it gets bad out there, just be Star Trek. Be Star Trek. The story of Star Trek is a testament to the power of perseverance, reinvention, and the importance of not giving up, even when things seem dire. I had a little bit of that in my personal life, which I'll get into in a little bit. But as creators, we all have moments where we feel like we failed or that our work isn't being recognized. But it's in these moments that we need to remember the potential for a comeback, our very own Star Trek moment. The first thing to remember is that failure isn't final. Star Trek wasn't canceled once, but twice, and it was considered a failure. Yet it went on to become a cultural phenomenon that shaped entertainment, technology, and even scientific inspiration. This reminds us that initial setbacks do not define our entire journey. What seems like the end might just be the beginning of something bigger. The second thing this teaches us is that it's important to reinvent and adapt. Part of what made Star Trek successful was its ability to adapt and evolve. It didn't stay stagnant. It expanded with new stories, spin-offs, and different approaches. As a creator, you have the power to pivot, try out new ideas, and embrace change to keep things moving forward. The third thing to keep in mind is the role of influence beyond the surface. The show's legacy is about more than just the episodes. It inspired new technology, fan culture, and it pushed people to dream bigger. Similarly, your work has the ability to impact others in ways you might not immediately see. Keep going, knowing that your creativity might plant seeds that blossom into something else later. And as always, remember your why. Star Trek pushed through its own struggles because it had a core mission and values that resonated with viewers. When facing your own challenges, reconnect with your why, the passion that drives you to create. Let that be your guiding star whenever things get tough. And finally, be resilient, be bold, be Star Trek. No matter how many times you're facing cancellation, whether it's dwindling engagement, harsh feedback, or those pangs of doubt that we feel, remind yourself that a comeback is possible. Keep showing up, keep innovating, and keep believing in your vision. Okay, so that's our bit of inspiration for this episode. So this update covers several days, and I believe the next one will as well, as a heads up. This is the vlog for days 15, 16, 17, and 18. Let's talk about how the book writing went first, then I'll get into the house buying stuff at the end. Okay, so day 15, I actually took completely off writing. What I did instead was I edited some videos and worked on some thumbnails for the channel, did some other miscellaneous work for my business that needed to be done, and I spent a lot of time working on furniture logistics for the new house. Essentially, we've been living in an RV for a couple of years, so we have a few wisps of furniture, although, for example, the bed can't go from the RV to the house. That has to stay in the RV. So we were arranging to get a few things from IKEA. We needed a bed and we needed some setups for both of us to work. Most everything could wait until after we get back from Texas, where like our couch and things like that are in a storage unit. We have our camping chairs and folding tables, things like that as temporary furniture in the meantime. So yeah, I was doing that furniture logistics. And then on day 16, which was also the closing date for our house, the signing date, I sat down and I knocked off the final 4 points. I finished the book all in one go. I went into a trance, spent a couple hours, and finished the book. Holy cow. So I'll get into it a little bit more in the house buying section, but essentially we closed, but we couldn't take possession to the next day, and I was a little peeved and stressed out. It was a bunch of nonsense, so I decided to take that energy I had and to just tackle the book. And I kind of warned y'all that I tend to do better with the endings of things, and that was the case this time. Once I started in that final chapter, there was nothing in the world that could stop me. So I flew through it. I did a lot of work. I did basically 4 days worth of work in that one day. So the book is done, the rough draft anyway. So what I have left on the book before I can hand it off to my editor, who does the final touches for me, is I need to go through and I need to do a really tight prep edit for my editor now that it's written out. And what that means for me is I usually go and I read the whole thing aloud to myself because it helps me to slow down. Like I can read a lot faster visually than I can read something aloud. And sometimes if there's a word missing or something sounds kind of awkward, I won't pick it up when I'm speed reading, but if I read it aloud, I will. So that takes many hours. It's very laborious. I'm going to be doing that probably a lot while I'm traveling, to be honest. It's a pretty easy activity. I can shut myself up in the hotel bathroom and read aloud the book, something like that. But yeah, I was thrilled. Okay, so on the house buying front, this is where it gets a little bit more interesting. As I said, we signed on day 16, but we couldn't take possession until the 17th because of some nonsense with the county and with the seller and just the logistics of us moving in. There's some repairs they were finishing up for us post-inspection. It was kind of a nightmare, but we did take possession. I don't have my nice audio set up today, but I just wanted to say hello and tell you how much I've really enjoyed posting videos for you and how wonderful you all have been and how thankful I am to have you cheering me on as I work through buying this beautiful house and finishing my book in 30 days. I love the backyard area. You'll definitely see more of the house as we move in. But yeah, it's an exciting day. Thank you. I am currently recording from my new studio. Apologies if it's echoey. There's not very much for furniture in here at the moment. I just have a basic desk and office chair set up for my editing station, and I am sitting in a camping chair. The lighting is pretty reasonable in here though. Right now I just got the blank back wall here. I might get a set. We might paint the wall, do a green screen, something back here for us. But for right now, I just wanted to set up and talk to y'all and give you an update. We also had a bunch of minor snafus when we took possession. So here are the 5 things that happened, and then I'll go into what we did with all of them. So the first thing that happened was the gas company replaced the meter literally like an hour or 2 before we took possession. They put in a brand new meter, which is great, but they also turned off the gas, which awful. Justin had actually had the wherewithal to get all the utilities switched over a few days ahead of time. He had done that so we would have that flawless move-in. And they were supposed to just be transferring it over to our name, and instead they turned it off completely. What we're thinking might have happened was they might have told the seller, and between all the logistics, she had some stuff she was fixing on the house for us, and for the first deal that fell through, there was already some work that they had planned for the first buyer that was being done. I think what had happened is maybe the gas company gave her the heads up and she just kind of blanked on it. So I'll talk about what it meant for us and how we handled it in just a second. But that was the first thing, is that, oh gosh, big house, no heat. It was like 30 degrees out, and it was, I think, 5:30, 6 p.m. on a Friday night. The second thing that happened was that we had no trash bins. The trash company took the bins away, and we had no place to put any of the trash or recycling. And if you've ever moved, you know there's a lot of cleaning and you've got boxes, things are coming in, so that's spicy. The third thing is that I'd mentioned that post-inspection there were 2 repairs. So this was a house where an earlier deal had fallen through with another buyer. Basically, it was kind of a situation where the first buyer had gone through the inspection and everything, and they wanted the roof repaired because it was an older roof, and the seller had said, okay. And they coordinated with buyer 1. They'd already paid the roofer. The roofers were scheduled for mid-November, and then buyer 1 left the country on some kind of business, never showed back up, basically ghosted on the seller, dragged everything along 2 months, which is why I think the house was available when we went to look in late fall. It's a really nice house. I think it would have been snatched up normally. So that had been already decided. They were already planning on replacing the roof. They had paid for it. It was all set. They still had to logistically do it before we moved in. So the week before we moved in, they were, rushing and working on that. In addition, on our inspection, we found a belly in the sewer line. Nothing too crazy. It isn't backing up or anything, but it's out of spec and we wanted it addressed. And the seller, there was a back and forth with the seller and bids and our agent and bids, and we finally came to an agreement, and the seller very kindly paid to have it done. The actual repair was functional when we were able to move in, so the sewer, all the bathrooms work, everything's good there. There is kind of a small trench because they have to re-asphalt over what they did where it was dug up. And it's still basically a construction zone to a certain extent. I'll get into how we resolve that. The fourth thing is that we can get fiber in this neighborhood. We've never had fiber internet. I would love to have it. We both work remotely. I am used to uploading on very slow RV park internet where I'm lucky to get like a megabit per second or 2 megabits per second. The fiber would be just like thousands of times faster. So I was pretty excited, and they said they could get us right in. Unfortunately, because the previous owner had cable internet and there's never been fiber here, the install is a little bit more involved than they realized when we booked the appointment. They have to dig a little trench or something in the backyard to run the cable. And they can't do that till after we get back from Texas. And we have a couple of days we need to work here. So it's like, no internet here, right? Yikes. I'll get into what we did about that in just a second. And finally, that IKEA furniture I was talking about, it arrived a little bit early, and because we were unable to take possession until the next day, it was sitting outside. Okay, let's talk about how all of these things happen. So with the gas company, Justin spent 45 minutes on hold, just with the hold music, waiting for a representative Friday night. He did finally talk to somebody, and once he talked to a human being, it was very easy. She put us on the list of people who would get visited that night. She said they work all night, so it doesn't matter how late it was, but there'd be somebody that would come over when they got to our spot on the list. Unfortunately, there had to be an adult in the house at all times, and we had planned to run some more errands and to go out to dinner at a neighborhood restaurant, our new home neighborhood, to celebrate, but one of us had to be there. So Justin went out and he did our errands, went shopping like at Costco and Target for a few things we'd need, and I stayed in the house. The good thing is that the addition that was built onto the house later has a heat pump. So there was a little bit of heat coming from there. I had a hoodie, and even though it was 30s outside in Fahrenheit, 35, 36 degrees. The actual interior of the house stayed mid to upper 50s. So it was chilly, but it wasn't gonna hurt the plumbing. It wasn't gonna hurt me, especially because I had the hoodie. And I actually recorded a little vlog for y'all. I don't know how it came out. I can cut to it though if you wanna see me in the house. Hey guys, I am filming from the house. So I am here while Justin bops out and gets supplies and various things we need, like a trash can, chargers. My phone is actually kind of running out of battery. But yeah, it's warm enough in here. I've got a hoodie. And it's our house. Like, this stuff is kind of frustrating and weird when it happens when you're the homeowner. But in a lot of ways, it's a lot better than waiting on the seller or strangers to get their act together. I'm just the homeowner and I can deal with the gas guy. So hopefully he gets here soon. And then when Justin got back from errands, we ordered in some takeout, which was really nice. And we put together our bed and my office setup. And I did a bunch of laundry because the previous homeowner left a nice washer and dryer. And I think about 11 p.m. the gas man came by. He was really nice. He actually reminded me of my brother, my little brother, so that was cool. He was really nice and he had us all set up 10-15 minutes, no problem. So, and then the house got nice and toasty warm. But yeah, I was really pleased at how well insulated the house is, because you never know. Our old house in Ohio that we used to have back in the day, the first house, it was, I think, built in 1920 or something. So the insulation was terrible. Ohio gets a lot colder than this part of Oregon does. So that thing was really expensive to heat. It got really drafty. I was very pleased to find that I was pretty comfortable even with the gas out, so bodes well. And I will say that we did finally get to celebrate the next night at a neighborhood restaurant. We found one that I found in some of the subreddits and Google reviews that was supposed to be good, and it was. It rocked our socks off. We really like it. We'll go again. Okay, so the trash bins. Basically what we ended up doing with the flat pack furniture is we created something I'm lovingly calling Cardboard Mountain in our living room. It's just this pile of cardboard that we're going to break down when we get the bins. There's nothing for it. I'm just glad we have the room, because really all we have down there is our camping chairs and a couple of folding tables that we can use, little side tables from camping, just camping furniture. And there's enough room in there. And what we did for our actual trash is that when we went to go move our RV to the house, we brought back all the trash we'd accumulated, like the bags and stuff, and we used the RV park dumpster. So that was really nice. I mean, we were still residents there. We actually have a few days extra that we don't need on the end, but I'm not gonna fuss. They were really nice. They actually let us change it, our basic lease agreement with them. We had an extra month that they could have made me pay, and the lady let me basically prorate it to the week we moved out, and I saved a bunch of money from that. So feeling pretty good. Not upset that it only took us like 4 or 5 days of the last week to move out. That's fine. We're fine with them. The thing about RV park rates is that it's not a big difference after you get to 4 or 5 days. To get to that to a week, you basically get a day or two per week free when you book weekly as opposed to daily. So it was pretty close. And then early on day 18, Justin managed to get a hold of the trash and recycling people, and the bins are coming tomorrow as I'm filming this, which is the day before we leave to go back to Texas. So everything's working out just fine. We'll be able to break down Cardboard Mountain and get it out of the house before we leave to Texas. Our realtor had also said that she could bring out our bins, bring them back in, because she kind of lives in this area and she has houses and stuff in this area. She was completely willing to do that for us, which I thought was so sweet, but I'm glad we don't need to bother her. So really happy about that. Okay, and about the sewer repair. So Justin was able to get the email address for the company, and he emailed them about the timeline, just seeing what's going on. The actual foreman stopped over to the house and talked to Justin. They're getting the sewer repair inspected by the city sometime today. They're not allowed to pave over it until they get the inspectors okay that it's done properly. And once they do that, they'll repave it once they get the green light from the city. But most importantly, what they did is they scooted over all their work cones, and they basically limited the work area to as thin an area as possible so we can get in our garage to park our car, and we could easily get the RV back down our driveway. That's literally all we cared about, was getting the RV into its parking spot and being able to get into the garage for our house. All our bathrooms work. This is really just a preventative thing, so we won't have trouble in the future. We're very, very happy with the whole thing. It was kind of involved, but the seller paid for it, and I'm really glad. It was very generous. It'll save us a lot of hassle, so wonderful. As far as the hiccup with the fiber internet, Justin actually took our mobile RV internet and he rigged it up so that we have our normal internet until the fiber guys get in here and do what they need to do. He even found a piece of air conditioner foam that they use for the air conditioners in the window to kind of insulate around where he had to feed a wire out through a window so that the heat doesn't go outside. We'll get the lightning fast internet later on. I was really excited about it, but it's okay. It's not a big deal. We mostly just needed a few days of internet to work and to do our normal life stuff until we were leaving for Texas anyway to go get our stuff. So this will work great. And actually our internet is working a little better here than it did at the RV park. There's less tree cover, like the trees are a little bit shorter in our backyard, so we have a better view of the sky. And also we don't have the same density of wireless networks that we had at the RV park. So we're not having all that signal fighting and everything. So we're doing a little bit better here even before the fiber, but I'm really excited for the fiber. It'll actually be cheaper per month than our mobile RV internet. So we'll save some money. It'll be a lot faster, but you know what? We can make this work for now. It's fine. And finally, the furniture sitting outside Happy to report that the IKEA delivery man did a great job. He leaned it right up against the house. It was protected from the rain by the roof there. It was beautiful. Nobody bothered it. It probably helped that the road was half closed when they were working on the sewer and the roof and everything. Nobody was really coming up. It's kind of around the corner, our front door. So it really worked out. That's the other thing. You see, I had to kind of bring it through this work zone, but awesome. Justin went and made sure to give the guy a 5-star review instantly because he really helped us out. And the nice thing is that when we got the keys and we took possession and met up with our realtor and her husband not only helped us bring in all the furniture into the living room, but her husband helped Justin bring it all upstairs so that he and I didn't have to fight with that or anything. He's a big, strong guy like Justin, so it worked out really good. We were really exhausted, so it was really, really helpful. And it was really, really nice of them and very unexpected. All in all, it's been a very busy and crazy time. I'm sure I'm leaving things out, but I'm honestly so pleased to be moving in. We got the RV parked here on day 18. It's right outside. I can see it while I'm doing my laundry. This house has a nice devoted parking space that's big enough for it, part of why we got this house. I actually thought this house was too big when we saw it, which sounds pretty crazy, right? Like, who minds that a house is too big? But you know, a big house is a lot to heat and to clean, and it's just the two of us. But this way we do have a lot of room for us both to work. We're both work from home people. I'm potentially starting another business for doing some thrifting and some flipping, so I have room for inventory. And we also have a really nice guest room for when our family and friends visit us. We've lived all over the place. I'm originally from Maine, Justin's from Michigan. We met in Ohio, but we also spent some time living in Texas. Our friends are from all over, and a lot of them travel quite a bit. So being able to host people and have a devoted guest room is really awesome and really useful for us. I also really love the backyard in the neighborhood. I was in love with the backyard in the neighborhood. We actually saw another house in the same neighborhood that was smaller, and I was sort of arguing for that, but Justin convinced me, so, and I love it. It's really growing on me, honestly. It was the kind of thing where I kind of had imposter syndrome, like I didn't think I deserved a house that size. This sounds really weird probably, but I'm probably gonna go into more of this on another channel that I'm planning on doing eventually, where I talk more about money and that aspect of things. But yeah. Anyway, we have the barest of furniture, and we're leaving for Texas to let the movers into our storage unit and see our friends there in just a couple of days. We're gonna fly out, let the movers in, and then we have our second car is actually in storage in Texas. It's been there all this time. We're gonna take that and then drive back to Oregon from Texas, which will take us some days. So we are still very busy and we still have lots to do. But I wanted to post an update to let you folks know how I'm doing. It might be a couple days before I can get it edited and out, but you're gonna see the whole thing eventually. A lot of exciting things are happening. I'll try to film parts of the trip to Texas and then the drive back to Oregon, and I'll give you an update on that leg of things in a little bit. But yes, I'm very tired and I'm very sore, but I'm very happy. Moving isn't easy, but I'm thrilled to be done writing the book and to be in the house. Bunch of moving, bunch of editing. Yeah, should be good. Anyway, it's been great talking to you as always. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.